It's 8:51 this morning. It is time for us to turn our attention to the fastest woman in Ireland. I'm delighted to say she's on the line. Molly Scott, good morning to you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, the fastest woman in Ireland. Is that a title you're getting used to, or is it something you don't want to get used to just yet? Because, the season's not over and Rashida can come back and knock you off any day now.
Yeah, I know. It's been coming and going, but I think that's kind of the fun of it. You have someone there to push you, and you just never know what's going to happen next. So it makes it that bit more exciting. I think it's really good to have someone there to make the record faster each time.
Will you talk us through the weekend in particular? Because there was a bit of a hoo-ha in advance of the actual race itself, where you ran this race twice in the space of 40 minutes. Is that right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I had to run twice. So what happened in the first race was I think they used the wrong gun. So I think they didn't use the starting gun. So that meant if someone false started, it wouldn't recall, and the race there wouldn't be a recall, basically. So that there was a false start, and there was also the gun didn't work, or the timing didn't work. I'm not exactly sure of the technicalities of what happened, but yeah, basically there was no time and there was a significant false start. So it kind of messed up not just my race, but kind of everyone else's races too. So finishing was kind of like anti-climax, I guess, because I knew I could have broken the record and now I had no time. So luckily enough, they said to us, no, look, we'll give you another race in 40 minutes time. So we'll do it at the end of the program. So obviously I felt really frustrated because I knew I could have done it because I ran 7:24 in the heat. So now I had another run in my legs, but I think the adrenaline, and I was really frustrated by it. And so I was gonna take it out in the next race. So luckily I did that.
Did the initial race feel as fast as the second one?
Well, I was just playing catch up because there had been a false start. So there had been a girl who got a significant, I thought she broke. I think everyone else thought she broke, like jumped the gun too, but she was already gone. So there was no recall. So we just had to run. So no, for the whole race, I was essentially just panicking. I was playing catch up. I think it took me about 30 to 40 meters to catch up. And then it was just like, I didn't even hit the wall at the end, so I knew I hadn't ran that fast. So yeah, it was really frustrating. And if the day had ended like that, I would have been so disappointed that I didn't get to go out and show what I could do. So I'm really glad that I got another race 40 minutes later. But I just ran twice, and I ran like my hardest I could have. So I just sat on the ground. I didn't do anything. I didn't do any warm up. I just sat. And I had to kind of just sit with my emotions, I guess, and then go out and do it again.
That's really interesting. Do you think that there's like a lesson in that somewhere, or is that just the way things go?
No, I think with me, it's probably bad to say, but I always thrive off when things go wrong or if there's chaos around. My body just it knows what to do, and I was like I wasn't going to let it deny me. I was like, no, today was the day I was gonna run a 7:1. I knew it. I knew in my heart and soul that I could have done it. So I wasn't gonna let something like that stop me, and I think that actually fueled me and motivated me to run faster. At the end of the day, it was a mistake, but still, it was. I would have left with no time and no ranking points either. So that would have been extremely frustrating. So no, I definitely think that could have been what made me run the record. I don't know.
You're going to have coaches and teammates trying to make you angry before every race from now on.
No warm up.
Well, something happened, and I ran good. I think I'm just a competitor. I'm once I get into an arena or I'm competing, I think I've become a different person. I had a friend come to one of my races a while ago, and she was like, I didn't even recognize you. So yeah, you can be a very different person, I guess, on and off the track.
We have the race now, the actual the race where you run the record. So talk us through what allowed you to run the fastest you've ever run in a timed race in this one. What is it about? Apart from the determination and the adrenaline and the anger, what else about this is kind of when you're watching back and going, yeah, I got that right?
Well, it's also, you need to be there needs to be anger and aggression, but there also needs to be I guess grace and fluidity and being calm. So the two kind of have to combine and come together. And technically, from a technical point of view, you have to really nail the start, and you have to be in the right positions for your acceleration, and you have to be as fast as you possibly can at the beginning. And it's all about intent. So that's what my coach always says to me. It's intent. It's intent from the beginning to the finish. And once you get up, it's about being in the right positions again. But I've trained that track that I actually raced on yesterday I guess it's my home track in a way, because I've trained there all winter with just me and my mom, and a timing system. So we have a timing system called Free Lap, and we've used it all winter. I ran down that track so many times. I've had good and bad days, and where I've been technically working on what I wanted to put together, and what you guys saw yesterday was the final results. But I have like indicators in training, like 30-meter fly splits, that will show me what time I'm essentially going to run. So recently I've been running 10 meters in under 1 second. So that just shows you just have to go out and do it in a race then, because it's all there. But yeah, technically you have to put it together, but you have to have the intent and I guess the skill retention to do it.
That repetition, is that easy, does it just grind down after a period of time doing, I guess, the same track, the same surrounds time and time again?
Yeah, sometimes it definitely can. Sometimes it can be a bit monotonous, but I like to change it up. Sometimes we go to different places, or we'll train in Athlone, or I'll bring a training partner along just to make it different, or I'll hurdle as well, because I was a hurdler and I do plan on going back to that soon. So that definitely changes up training and makes it more interesting, and that's why I always used to love hurdle training so much, because it was very different from sprint training. So we like to throw in different things too. And even on, I think it was Saturday, I didn't do anything before the race. My mom was like, I don't want you to do just another warm up. Like, I don't want things to get stale. I just want you to relax and then nail tomorrow.
You mentioned your coach and your mum there. That's one and the same. And she's got an incredible story herself, in that she wasn't a trained athletics coach, but over the last decade or so has become conversant in the best techniques in the world to get you to the level you're at now. What's that been like for her?
Yeah, I think it's been much of a roller coaster and a challenge for her, and I think it's been about confidence for both of us. Like maybe when I was a teenager and she was a couple of years younger too, we didn't have as much belief in ourselves, and we were both starting off. It's not like she had 3 or 4 athletes before me, so we've had to make like mistakes and together along the way, and learn a lot together. So, but yeah, when I was about 12 or 13, she started to learn. And, we did face a lot of challenges, because she was my mom as well in Ireland. And, there was kind of a stigma around, oh, you're pushing your kid. You shouldn't be pushing your kid. But at the end of the day, I wanted to be pushed. And I'm so grateful that I was given that opportunity, and that my parents put a lot of time and effort into giving me this, because I certainly wouldn't be sitting here now talking to you. So, yeah, it was definitely difficult for my mom. But I think she's coming into her own now, too. And she's learned so much. And we definitely are a lot more confident in our abilities and what we could do. Because even yesterday, she said to me, "Did you ever think you'd run 7-1?" And I said, "Honestly, no." But she said she knew I would. So yeah, I guess that's the difference.
Did she tell you that before the race?
No, she told me after yesterday. She was like, "I always knew you would do them times one day." So yeah, she knew I could do it.
Does she have her own, a different sports background? She obviously had a big, deep interest in sport to make sure that you were able to make take full advantage of the whatever gifts you have. So what was her own sports background?
She doesn't really have one, to be honest. Like when she was a kid, she did athletics, and she went along to athletics competition until she was around 14 or 15. I think she's a Dublin Community Games relay medal, which is really cool. It's in the attic. But no, she didn't really have the same opportunities as I did. So she left sport behind, I guess, and went off and lived her own life. And even when she had kids and stuff, she said she never really planned on like putting them into sport and anything. So I kind of just fell into it, and then my mom really enjoyed it. Like my mom and dad would have always followed like the Olympics and track and field, but they never really had any like depth or knowledge about it. So my mom kind of just fell into it then. So yeah, to come from two people who didn't really have, I guess, big sporting backgrounds to what I'm doing now is pretty significant. But like I said, I think we've learned so much over the past 10 years that now I have the right training program, and we kind of know what to do more to run faster and become better. Because this year we knew over the winter that we wanted a breakthrough year. I didn't want another mediocre year. So yeah, we both pushed each other really hard.
Does your mom have someone to mentor her as a coach throughout those few years, or how does she pick up even techniques and drills?
Well, she's like bought all the books. She's went to all the coaching conferences. She definitely has people in other countries too that she can pick up the phone and talk to. Like over the years, I think she started off years ago buying a USA track and field book from a coach in America, and that was the first book she ever bought. And I still remember her like showing me the videos when I was 10 or 11, and she kept up with following that program from a coach in I think it's in Boston somewhere, and she followed that program for over the years. And she said when she first like picked up the book, she didn't really understand it, but now it all makes sense years later. So yeah, she kind of followed a certain program for me, and even now she'll go back to that coach and she'll give him updates on what I'm doing.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
And were you fast as a kid? Or like, I mean, obviously you were, but like, was it a clear thing that this is the right path for you? Because I'm just wondering, could there have been other sports? Could you have been a footballer? Could you have done other sports? But actually, it turned out athletics was the thing that you wanted to do because you were good at it early?
Yeah, I think I just fell into it very, very early. Like I was about 7 or 8, and then I was probably just like winning, your local competitions by the time I was 9 or 10. But it was just something that I felt like I was good at. But it was funny when I was a kid, I was about 5 or 6. I was playing musical chairs at a sports day, and I won. And I just remembered that feeling, like, and that was such a long time ago. And I was like, there's nothing can compare to this feeling. I want to do this forever. I want to win things. So then I kind of fell into athletics, and yeah, I can't really imagine myself in another sport. I really love track and field, but I like the individual aspect of it too. I've never really tried out team sports that much, but I definitely do admire them.
To go back to the time, right? There's a story that has been doing the rounds about you taping 7:19 to the back of your phone. Is that right?
Yeah, I did that. Yeah, I did that a few weeks ago, probably in the beginning in January after all my winter training was done. I just cut out 719 on a piece of paper and I painted it in gold calligraphy ink, and I put it on the back of my phone because I wanted a goal to look at every day, and I'm kind of terribly addicted to my phone, so I had it there to look at, and it was homemade. And yeah, they say you're supposed to like put it out into the universe and not be ashamed of what goal you have, no matter how big it is. Because people kept asking me about it, and I was like, it's the time I want to run. And I know they were looking at me like, this girl's a bit mad.
But I mean, yeah, like the mad people are the ones who create stuff and reach goals, isn't that right?
Yeah, like I guess it's kind of a manifestation in a way, but you have to do all the work, to get there. Like you have to do all the work, but it was just an incentive there for me. I always find over the years, if we write a number down somewhere in, even on a track or in my home gym, it always comes true.
What's the next thing that's going to be written on the back of the phone?
That's what I was actually thinking. I was like, what number am I going to pick next? Maybe 716 maybe, or something like that. Like I have the World Indoor Championships in just over 2.5 weeks. So going out there and running a PB will definitely be my goal. It'll be hard to do, but I think it's in me now. Like I knew the time was there for the weekend, so I'll know through my timing system of the next few weeks what I'm going to do.
What else is in that kind of suite of techniques, Molly, in terms of either writing stuff on the back of the phone or other psychological things that you use?
I feel like for me anyways, I have to really get up for a race. Like I can't just be flat like in my mind. Like I have to physically and mentally like be kind of harmonious. I guess I would be a little bit I find sprinting and sport it's kind of spiritual for me, I guess, in a way, but I definitely have to get up for it. Like I would take, I would drink Red Bull, I'd take some caffeine. Like I have to be, really in the zone to get out there and do that. I would probably talk to myself a lot in my head, and I would visualize things, and I would, think of scenarios where I am from the past that would maybe motivate me to do it, things I've done as a kid and how far that I've come. Yeah. So when I'm in the call room, I'll have about 20 to 25 minutes, and that's definitely a time where everyone can take time to themselves, and it can kind of make you or break you, especially at big championships, because there's big names there too, and you don't want to get intimidated. You want to be just focused on yourself.
And is that something that your mom would have encouraged, or is that something that you picked up yourself?
No, I think I just picked it up myself along the way. I think I've always been like that since I was a kid. My mom, when I was really young, I was only about 10 or 11, like she would bring me to competitions in the UK, and she'd always say, if you can't get up there with the Brits, like you're at nothing, basically, because they're an amazing like sprinting country, an amazing hurdling country overall. So she would like put me into them races from a really young age, and maybe along the way I look back at all them call rooms, because they were very like professional, the races, that I learned a lot of them things about how to like get myself in the zone for a race, because they say, the bell-shaped curve, you can be overstimulated or over nervous. You have to kind of like find the middle line, and that can sometimes be it can be really hard to do. But for me, I find that like it's like almost like a red button inside me, and if I don't hit it, then I'm not gonna like do my best performance ever. I know when I'm either underwhelmed or overwhelmed. If like, for instance, I competed in Ostrava a few weeks ago at the Czech Indoor Gala, and we were waiting before we ran on the start line for quite a while, but I got a small cramp in the side of my quad, and I got such a fright. I was like, what am I going to do here? How mentally, like, how am I going to fix myself here? Because I was like, should I run? Should I leave? And I just had so much adrenaline like flowing through my body. I was mentally, I had to really get myself together for the last minute before they called the gun. But I won. But I'm not saying that's because I won, but like adrenaline and nerves definitely I find work in my favor, instead of being, I have to be calm and I'm going to be fine. No, I have to be really nervous and ready to go.
I have one last thing. Your work-life balance is obviously something you've managed to maintain properly. You've graduated from law. You're studying the King's Inns at the same time as doing this. How do you manage that?
I definitely say I'm working on it. Like, I do not have a clear-cut good answer for that yet. I'm in my first year of King's Inn, so it's definitely trial and error. I'm trying to keep up with that at the moment, and I have assessments next week, which will, I think, show a lot for me. So, but my marks count the following year. So I definitely have a lot of work to do at the moment. Sometimes you'll go through periods where you work harder on one, and one will suffer a little bit more than the other, but then at the end of the year, you'll probably like focus more on academics, especially when it comes up to exams and stuff like that.
Is this something that you'll do until the end of the course and then try and do the full-time athletics thing for a couple of years, or is it your intention to try and keep these dual paths because one is a good release or escape from the other?
I'm not really sure yet, so I've another year left after this year at doing the barrister at law degree, so I'm not really sure yet, but I think the nature of being a barrister is kind of similar as athletics, in that you have to give it 100%, and I'm very aware of that. It's a hard career to make it at, so I'm aware of all them things, but I really do love law, so no, I definitely would love to practice at one point, but I don't know if it will come immediately after I am finished. I really don't have a good answer for that yet, but I love law so much, so no, I definitely will not be taking a step back from it. It's always going to be in my life. Athletics, until about in the past year or two, I didn't really think that I would wasn't really sure if I was going to have a career at it or not. I kind of had accepted that I was just doing it to see for how much I could get out of my body and how fast I could run. But now things are changing, I guess. Over the past season, I've kind of broken through a bit, and I could actually have a bit of a career at it for a while. So I'm definitely just going to focus on Paris, that Olympics, going to that. I'd love to get another international medal. They would definitely be my goals. Yeah.
All right. Well, you've managed to achieve everything so far, so no one is doubting you at all, Molly. Congratulations on running the record, and thanks a million for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
It's Molly Scott there, the fastest woman in Ireland as it stands, and obviously those rivalries are the best part of athletics. We can all get behind them, and they're going to drive each other on to greatness.
Yeah, incredible. Herself and Rashida Adeleke, obviously at the moment, two generational talents possibly, as time will probably judge them over the next little while, and probably success off the track as well. I wonder, will she have become a barrister on the back of her phone as she's doing her exams, and that'll strive for success. The psychological stuff there was absolutely fascinating. I haven't really heard that stuff before, and I guess maybe when you're operating over such short distances, it is that 25 minutes beforehand where it's make or break, whereas in a longer distance it's like, okay, you settle in, and then it's like, okay, now the mental battle starts.